Welcome back to Saudi Discovered. Katy's joining me again, and today we are going to talk about how Oliver Rowland won the World Championship of Formula E this season. Safe to say, it's a very deserved win, isn't it, before we get into looking at some clips?
Yeah, very much so. It's not often that we see a driver wrap up the championship with 2 rounds to go. So yeah, he's done a fantastic job, but let's dissect it.
Let's start with Mexico.
I like it.
Now, there's a couple of reasons I want to use this clip in particular. The first being attack mode. Let's remind ourselves that this season attack mode changed. We got all-wheel drive, and that really changed the game because of that extra grip that it was giving alongside the extra power, right?
Yeah, very much so. I love the extra grip and what attack mode brought this year. And yeah, Ollie Rowland is a perfect example of that.
So this is him going into attack mode in Mexico, perfectly timing it to not lose a position, crucially there, keeping ahead of the Andretti of Nico Müller. And now he's got the extra power, the idea being to use it and make up more positions. However, it doesn't exactly go to plan because there is a stoppage in the race with the Cupra Kiro.
Yeah, I feel like that's peak Formula E. Like sometimes you'll take your attack mode and it'll either go swimmingly or there'll be an inconvenient yellow flag, and that's exactly what happened for Ollie Rowland with that Cupra Kiro. But he still managed to make the most of it once we got green flag racing again. Thankfully
for Rowland and Nissan, he had enough of it left when it was green flag racing again, and the journey ahead of him now to win this race, which we know he went on and did, was 1 Andretti and 2 Porsches. It almost feels like this was a metaphor for the season that was going to unwrap for the rest of the season. Rowland versus 2 Porsches,
yeah.
And that's what happens. He gets the Andretti pretty much on the restart. Really, really good work here. He's still got that all-wheel drive of the attack mode, and this is where we really learn how far that goes on a circuit like this. Now, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. When we go in and out of these corners, watch how much more traction Rowland has coming out of the corners. You see the Porsches sliding around a little bit. There's one in particular where he gets in front of Da Costa. So you see Pascal there almost losing another position, but now especially, once he makes this move on Da Costa,
I mean, look at him
up
wiggling
the outside,
there.
he's wiggling all over the place, and now cut back to Da Costa on the let's go back and actually look at that clip again, because
that's a proper Ollie Rowland move, by the way, sending out the inside. So good.
And he's a completely no-nonsense driver, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, just go back
Elbows
to this,
out.
This Da Costa, the grip and traction that Rowland has going into this set of corners, so much more than Da Costa, especially here. Look, all of that instability, Rowland takes full advantage with the extra power and gets the job done and wins Mexico. It was really the start of a bit of a trend, a precedent for a drive like this.
Very much so. I mean, we've had Porsche Power win in Mexico the previous 2 years, so we know that they're kind of the team to beat. But yeah, also, Ollie Rowland continues the trend of whoever wins in Mexico goes on to win the World Championship. We saw it with Dennis, we saw it with Pascal. Ollie has continued that, so let's keep our eyes peeled for next season.
Love that. Okay, now let's go through to the next clip, because now what I want to talk about is something that's been very pivotal this season, and that is adaptability to different conditions and different characteristics of Formula E. One being the new attack mode, of course, very important. The other being the weather, because we have had so many wet races this season, haven't we?
We have, yeah. I don't know who put a curse on F1 this season, but yeah, we've had wet weather race after wet weather race. But yeah, Ollie Rowland has kind of kept his cool under all conditions, really, and that's why he's champion.
And we're going to look at some of that wet weather prowess in a minute. But first, this was the first pit boost race of the season, the debut of this new, very strategical element of Formula E. And this is Rowland getting ahead of the DS Penske before taking his first pit boost ever. One of the first, actually, of drivers. I think there was only the DS Penske's that did it before Rowland. So he goes into the pit lane, gets that extra 10% of energy, and then it's about how he uses it. Can he utilize it, make the moves he needs to do, and finish in a strong position? He's had the win in Mexico, but now he wants to back it up with more podiums. Now this is him on the back of the Lola Yamaha Apps Cupra. Lola Yamaha Apps, and then you've also got
one of the McLarens
the
in there
McLaren,
as well.
yeah. So those guys hadn't done pit boost yet, so
No.
this is sort of a net position.
Yeah, he came out net race lead after that pit boost. So yeah, it was a clever move from the Nissan teams. Like you say, one of the first to kind of take it, this new trial of pit boost. And yeah, it worked out very well for him. Although we have to say, Günther did get him at the last lap, but still a P2 result.
Yeah, he did get P2. Actually, to be fair, at this point of the season, Oliver Rowland's championship leaderboard looked a little bit like a sound engineer testing a microphone. It was like 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, like that. It's just a lot of podiums, a lot of wins. He's doing well. And this was another one of those moments in Jeddah. This was a P2, I believe. P1, sorry, the second race in Jeddah. The fireworks lighting up the pit lane to celebrate his win. And again, another example of how Oliver Rowland and Nissan can just adapt to different challenges, be it strategy, be it weather, be it grip, be it attack mode, everything like that. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And the next thing was Monaco. Two races we had in Monaco. We had a traditional race, which was hard fought by a lot of drivers, as always. Winning in Monaco is pivotal to a season. You know, going back to your point in Mexico, we actually saw Da Costa and Van Dorn win in Monaco and then go on to win the championship after that as well. So it does play a significant role. It's a big moment to win on the streets of Monaco, isn't it?
It really is. It's like, apart from a home race, I think it's a driver's favourite place to win is Monaco. It's so special. And yeah, Ollie was able to do that on the Saturday. And then come Sunday, as you can see, the weather conditions are completely different. We had a downpour, typical Formula E style. So yeah, being able to navigate those elements wasn't quite the win this time, but still another podium, more points in the bag. And at this point, we're all saying, you know, surely Ollie Rowland has got this wrapped up. You know, he's got so many pieces of silverware, such consistency, but little did we know.
No.
You know, what was to come a bit further on in the season, but I don't want to spoil too much.
The crucial element of this is going back to that first race when we said the storyline of Nissan and Rowland versus the Porsche was first written. A lot of these podiums we've looked at have not had Porsches on them. So he was just building a gap and building a gap. That's why we're showing you these clips, because it's not just about winning a race, it's about who was next to him on the podium, and it wasn't his chief competitors in races like this in Monaco, in hard conditions, where they were maybe the conditions getting the better of them or the strategy not being quite there. Rowland and Nissan were completely capitalizing and making the most of all those challenges. And that takes us to Tokyo, which is a huge race, of course, for Nissan, it being a home race for the Japanese manufacturer, one that they did incredibly well at last season, but that win had eluded them.
Just escaped him, didn't it? So yeah, time to, you know, make wrongs right, so much so in Tokyo. Another wet race.
I mean, a wet race is an understatement.
Yeah.
Look at the state of this.
It certainly looks very slippery.
Soaking.
Yeah,
very difficult conditions to drive in.
Very much so. But yeah, he managed to get it done and yeah, get some more points on the board.
I mean, he finished his second here, only to Stoffel Van Dorn, because Van Dorn had that very fortunate safety car pit boost combination where he took full advantage of it and basically
went from like 14th to first.
Yes,
yeah, it's crazy.
He took away all of the time lost in pit boost to be able to get it in here. So he did very well. And Rowland still, though, on the podium. Again, no Porsches on the podium, so bridging that gap onto the highest competitor. The only thing now is Taylor Barnard entered the game.
He did.
And as a third competitor in that story against Oliver Rowland. But it was the next day in Tokyo where things really started to take a good turn upwards.
Yes.
Because they got that thing that they've been missing in their 2 visits to Tokyo so far last year and this season, and that being the win. And it started in qualifying when Dan Ticktum had a mistake in the duels.
Yeah, we don't often see that many mistakes from Dan, to be honest. But yeah, this was quite a clumsy one and essentially gave the pole position to Ollie Rowland. As yeah, we see a couple of replays of that error from Dan.
It's interesting because to win a championship, you need a lot of things. And one of those things is certainly fortune and luck. And this was one, I think, of 3 front row starts that Oliver Rowland had that he effectively inherited because of either there not being a qualifying session because of the weather, or someone like Dan Ticktum putting it at the wall in the duels and gifting him that front row start. So yeah, you need a bit of both, don't you? You've got to be good on track, you've got to have the right strategy, but luck needs to be on your side too.
Very much so, and Ollie's the one, you know, getting it through to the duels and to the finals sometimes, and yeah, benefiting from the mistakes from others. So, you know, you've got to put yourself in that position in order to benefit from bad luck from others.
And this is where it gets interesting, because a huge moment for the team. Nissan getting their home win on Japanese soil, Rowland flying into the lead of the championship. It felt like all he could do was get a P1 or a P2, but this was the last time up until now that we saw Rowland on the podium. So going into Berlin, he had a great lead, but we'll just start with, let's go with this clip. We start with Berlin. This is the first race in Berlin. Again, wet weather running. And he had a nice lead in the championship, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had the chance to win the championship and wrap it all up on the first day in Berlin, but then this happens.
It did. I mean, he said he was trying to pass a lapped car and just makes that contact with Stoffel Van Dorn. A very clumsy accident, completely bends the steering. He's out of the race at this point. So, you know, limped back to the garage. But yeah, a very costly mistake from Ollie. And, you know, we're all questioning maybe it's going to go to London, because, you know, you talk about the Porsches and Pascal Wehrlein. Pascal managed to get a podium in this race, looked incredibly strong the following day as well with the pole position.
Katy, now moving into the second race in Berlin. Now, this is a position you don't often see Oliver Rowland in, starting further down the order, but here's what I think. This is what won him the championship on that day, starting from there. The main reason being, of course, because all their slipstream, the energy you can save in the slipstream of all the cars in front.
So much so, yeah. Obviously, we had Pascal at the front, and you get yourself so vulnerable being at the front of the pack in races like this. I mean, we saw it with Katy as well, being able to come from the back and win it. But yeah, being able to save energy, you know, using the most of that slipstream, and yeah. Still elbows out racing, as we love from Ollie Rowland, but
we make
a
it
great
sound
start
easy.
from him.
It's certainly not easy. But it's not easy to do well in Formula E in the jungle, and P8, which is where he started, is very much in the jungle. But the difference is, Rowland knows how to get his elbows out and knows how to deliver in races and conditions like that, especially when grip is hard, it's really abrasive on the tyres, people are struggling to manage the tyres. Rowland just pulls all of that resource from the team, all that knowledge from the season of driving in very different conditions into a race where he knows all he needs to do is finish P4 and Pascal not be ahead of him, and he's won the championship.
Yeah, very much so.
And it was this moment when that became a reality. This is Pascal Wehrlein on board into attack mode. Essentially, that right there is the moment that the championship was lost for Pascal Wehrlein. Because, Katy, talk to me about the difference in strategy that Pascal did versus everybody else around him.
Well, yeah, everyone else around him decided to opt for 4 minutes of attack mode. Pascal only went for 2. So although it meant later on he had that 6 minutes when others didn't have as much, he lost so many positions taking attack and just wasn't able to make the most of it. So he just continued to drop further and further back. And yeah, like you say, I think that's where the championship was won for Ollie Rowland. A very rare mistake for Porsche. And yeah, I do have to feel for Pascal, because he did all of the groundwork leading up to that.
But he's just getting overtaken and overtaken. At one point he was dropping back as far as P18, I think. And the main reason, just stop that there, the main reason being that, like you say, Katy, when you get dropped down the order from taking attack mode when you're in the pack, he'd been leading or in that top 3 for a lot of the opening stages of the race, using all the energy without the slipstream benefit. He then sits behind everybody else. Everyone around him got more energy than him.
Yeah.
And he's got more energy to use because he's in attack mode. So it's sort of like a double jeopardy going on. And he's very hard to make back from that because you're constantly on the back foot with managing your energy. And here's something I wanted to bring up because it's quite interesting. This is actually fairly early on the race where Rowland is behind the 2 Porsches. He gets
even here, I was wincing watching this.
Yeah,
Saunders. I mean that's his championship rival that he's just squeezed past. So yeah, it's exciting racing as ever.
But I want to stop you here because if I just pinpoint this, look at what is this, Katy?
That is...
Get that thing on probably. What is that?
That is a lovely big television screen.
That's a jumbo screen. And it always surprises me when drivers say they use the screen and look at where their competitors are in the order whilst racing. And that's what Rowland said to you, didn't he?
Yeah, in his championship interview with me after the race, he was saying that he was keeping an eye on these jumbo screens as the racing was going on, looking for where Pascal Wehrlein was going to be. And he started looking from the top. Pascal wasn't there. So the next lap, he started from the bottom, and sure enough, Pascal's running in 16th at this point. And I think that's when he kind of realised, oh, this could be on. This could be happening. So yeah, playing a crucial part in Rowland's race.
Thank you very much for the people who put the screens up for Oliver Rowland's case. All he had to do at that point, I mean, this is earlier on in the race, but when it came to knowing Pascal's situation, he knew he just needed to stay P4 or better, and the championship was won. And when you think about Oliver Rowland this season, and the performance and the things that he's done in very difficult conditions and challenging racing in Formula E, he's just delivered. And he did it again, crossing the line. Yes, it's not a podium, but it doesn't matter because he got the championship done and you could see how much it meant to him.
Yeah, tears. I mean, we heard the lovely radio message from his daughter as well, Harper. Yeah, means so much, and great that he was able to secure it and able to come into London now kind of with a bit of weight off his shoulders.
Absolutely, a worthy title for a worthy champion.